But every possible nerd.
Yeah.
It was standing there with a weird hat, their cards, doing things, sitting there seriously. Not a female in sight.
No.
I think I told the story at the panel one, and Sofia goes, "That's what my husband does."
Yeah.
I go, with who? Welcome to. Welcome. Tell me when the music ends. See here?
Now.
There he is.
There.
Oh,
you
my
got him.
gosh. Hi. Get close. Get close.
Closer. All right.
Do you go anywhere without the dog? Howie Mandel does stuff. I'm Howie Mandel.
I'm Jacqueline Schultz.
And Joe Manganiello.
Manganello.
Manganello. What did I say?
Oh, that's easy.
You said manja.
No.
With
How
a
do you
soft
pronounce
G.
it? No, that's not where I have time. Is it Joe or Ja?
Joie.
Joie. French.
Schwa. The schwa.
The schwa. I said your name wrong. I'm
Manganiello. Or
sorry.
you can say Manganiello or Manganello.
Manganello.
Yeah.
So you corrected me with 3 different ways of saying it.
2.
Oh, your mic.
You just have to hit the G. Okay, I'm over here.
Oh,
All right,
Manganiello.
Perfect. Yeah. And I have headphones too. Great.
Yeah, so you can hear us. Do you go anywhere without your puppy?
She just stares at the door when I'm gone. It's really sad. And so I just take her everywhere. I take her to Ireland. I just shot a movie in New Jersey. I took her for a month and a half to Jersey.
What did you shoot in Jersey?
This kind of dark comedy drama with Sam Jackson and Uma Thurman about this like hitman basically for these drug dealers who gets wrapped up in this money laundering scheme where they're going to make these like shitty paintings that people can't tell the value of modern art. It's like it's completely objective. So my boss Sam Jackson says, "Why don't you go paint something? Go paint a couple wavy lines, some circles," and I go and do it, and somebody buys it for like $150,000, and they want more. And so Uma Thurman is this kind of like way past her moment art gallery owner, and she sees something in me and kind of starts pushing me, and I start creating art from the killer side.
Wow.
And so the art world becomes obsessed, but I have to hide my identity, which then like blows it up even further. And we start planning my last hit so that I can kind of buy my freedom and get out. And that's the movie.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's just a spoiler.
Did you ruin the end? Yeah.
You don't know what happened.
I said, "What did you do?" And you gave me the whole movie.
Tune in to
Did
see
you
what
produce
happens.
this?
No, I didn't produce it. No.
I know you and your brother have a production company, right?
Yeah. And I'm in the habit of producing independents, but I didn't. So on this one, it was nice. I got to just go to work and then go home, and everybody else had to clean up.
Do you find producing independents as a habit? It's like smoking. I can't stop. I can't.
No, I can stop. God, it's brutal.
You have a
that
movie
is
coming
tough
out
job.
now, right? July.
I have a TV series for AMC coming out
Called
called Moonhaven.
Moonhaven.
Yeah.
And is that yours? Is that the one you did?
I didn't produce that. AMC did. Once again, nice gig. Get to go into work late, leave early.
Would you rather do that? Just produce your own stuff or go to work?
If there are much smarter people than me in the room, then I'm very happy to show up and be a part of their vision.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
If that's not if that's not the case, then it's really hard. With independence, you need a really good team, and you need people that care. You need people that want to do it, who got into this business not for money, not for anything else, but they wanted to tell a good story. You need those people around you, and if you don't have them, it's a nightmare.
That's why you got into this business?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I want to tell good stories. I'm Generation X. We don't care about money. We just care about being cool.
So a little bit of your background. You're from Pittsburgh,
Uh-huh.
and you've made that known. Really, you're like
Yeah.
you are Mr. Pittsburgh.
Sure.
You are the welcome wagon to Pittsburgh.
I love Pittsburgh.
And you're a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
And you've written a couple of books. Didn't you write a book or do
I wrote a book.
A couple, right?
I wrote one book so far. The foreword was written by Arnold Schwarzenegger, as a matter of fact.
Who's a hero of yours?
Well, growing up, I think anybody who ever,
Fucked their maid.
When it, come on.
No. But I'm just saying that's what he's known for.
No, it's not.
No, I know.
That is not what he's known for.
He was also. He's fucked a lot more people.
Dad.
No, I'm sorry.
He inspired a generation like me to pick up weights and really get into bodybuilding and things like that. And
That why you got into bodybuilding? You're in an amazing shape.
well, no, I mean, I was an athlete. I was a football player. So at age 13, they throw you in the gym and they start torturing you.
So that's what I was going to ask. I work with your wife. For the people that don't know.
Spoiler. yeah.
I work with Sofia Vergara, and she kind of gives me. I'm fascinated by you, so I ask a lot of questions. So I would imagine, because that seems like a 180-degree turn. Growing up in Pennsylvania, in Steeltown, playing football. Did other sports too?
Yeah, I was going to go to college to play basketball and go into federal law enforcement. That was actually what I was going to do right up until the last moment when I got a scholarship to the Carnegie Mellon School of Drama, which at the time...
Which is 180. It wasn't a football scholarship to the Carnegie Mellon.
No, I told them I didn't. I told the coaches I didn't want to play. I said I don't want to play. I want to go for acting. I mean, I don't have time to play. There was one person from the drama department who played sports. He played basketball, and the drama department threw him out after one semester
Because he was jockish?
because he had no time. There was no.
He was still playing sports while he was
in school. You have to. You have so much work there. They really work you from. We'd get there at 8:20 in the morning for warm-ups, and if you didn't show up, they would dock you a grade. They wouldn't give anyone A's the first 2 years. The highest grade you could get was a B, and if you got 2 C's, you were out. So if you didn't show up to your yoga warm-up at 8:20, which is about discipline, then that's 1 C, and then if you get another C, you're out.
So it was harder than being on a football team.
It was.
That sounds discouraging.
It's really hardcore. Yeah, I mean, if you would imagine like the most hardcore training program for sports, including like the combine before where all the agents, managers, casting agents, the actors have those. So it's kind of similar.
I feel like those are the two scariest or career paths to go on, and musician, because it's either like you make it or you don't.
Yeah.
But
right?
your parents are your parents in the business now?
No.
So I'm thinking Pittsburgh, that's all American. Their kid is, going possibly on a football scholarship and then makes this turn. And you tell them you're like, for all intents and purposes, Billy Elliot.
In a way, yeah, it's similar. All the coaches made it a point to grab me in the hallway and tell me what an idiot I was and what a mistake I was making with my life. Yeah.
What inspired you to act? Like that seems like such a...
I was always an artist inside. I was always an artistic kid. I wrote, I painted, I drew from the time I was like little. And even like G.I. Joe and Star Wars, like I would wake up and continue the story and create these scenarios in my mind. And anybody who would sit there and listen to me, I would tell you the stories. And then that kind of led into like, I found like, like role-playing games. And I started running games for my friends, which is basically being a showrunner. I would write the story, and then my friends would show up with their characters, and then they would play the characters in my show. And I would kind of run the show for them.
Which you still do. You're a big Dungeons and Dragons?
I got back into it. Well, I work for D&D, so I started working for them about 7 years ago as a consultant.
What do you mean working for them?
Well, I'm not like a fanboy. I got hired because I knew so much about their product. I knew more about their product than most of the people who work there. So they started hiring me to help consult.
But how do they know you know that much about Dungeons and Dragons?
Well, if you spend 10 minutes with me and you know what D&D is, you'll figure it out.
Okay, so Sofia has told me this. She says, I have a lot of friends. I don't gamble. I don't play games. I'm not good in sports. Yeah. I'm really not good at anything.
What do you do? Other than make tons of money and host
I'm not even.
Awesome shows.
I'm doing this for free. Yeah. But the thing about it is, I would live part-time in Santa Monica, and we would walk by the comic bookstore, and I think I mentioned this to Sofia. I said I walked by and I look in the window like on Friday night, and there was like I'm trying to be politically correct, but every possible nerd.
Yeah.
It was nerd, standing there with a weird hat, their cards, doing things, sitting there seriously, not a female in sight.
No.
And they're all gathered around the table, and this seemed to be their life, and I was always fascinated by them. And I think I told the story at the panel one, and Sofia goes, "That's what my husband does."
Yeah.
I go, with who? And you have like a game of Hollywood types.
Yeah, it's I guess it's the equivalent of Johnny Carson's poker game.
It isn't.
Oh, it's not?
It's Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
It's
So we all used to
It-
play poker. We were all guys who used to get together socially and hang out and smoke cigars and do our thing.
Right.
And now, but as kids, we all grew up playing this game. And then we all took 25, 30-year hiatuses. I didn't touch it for 20, 30, 25 years probably. And then, I was trying to get the rights to some books that Dungeons and Dragons owned. When I had a couple of successful films at Warner Brothers. They said, "What do you want to do next?" I said, "I want to do these books." They said, "Do we own them?" I said, "Yes, you do. You have them."
They didn't even know.
No, had no idea. What are they? All right, so I had to educate them. And then a friend of mine from Carnegie Mellon, a screenwriter named John Castle, he and I got together, and I basically helped him write we kind of co-wrote, I guess, if you call it, a spec script to show them what was possible with this property. And I kept chasing those books, and through chasing those books, I wound up getting back, because there were executives that were playing, and then they were like, "Come play on Friday night. We're playing." Okay, yeah, I haven't played in years. So I went and played, and then I started calling other friends. And then once people kind of caught wind of it, I would have meetings with executives who knew that I had this game.
Right.
And I would go to Sony to talk about some project, and the guy would close the door, look down the hallway, and be like, "I used to play when I was a kid." Like they're coming out to me. And I'm like, "Okay." And can I get into your
right?
game? Well, yeah. I mean,
I don't know that much about the
so
game.
Isn't that what Stranger Things is about now?
Well, kind of. I mean, so the kids, yeah, in the first scene of Stranger Things, the kids are playing D&D.
Yeah.
But they're playing this kind of crazy, crazy version of it. But, my version, for example, the guys who created Game of Thrones, they play in my Friday night game.
Really?
Yeah, so they don't have to run the show. They don't have to come up with the storylines. They just have to have their characters show up, and they're in my show. And they get to kick back and
You
have
play
fun.
for money?
No, you roll dice, and it's collaborative. So, for example, Vince Vaughn is in my game, and Vince's father. I introduced Vince's father, his character's father, into the game, and I'd write these huge monologues, and Vince and I just start improving, and he's speaking to his father, and I'm his father on his deathbed, and his father needs to give him this thing and this piece of information that they're going to carry with them, and then there's this huge war going on, and they kind of figure out their place within this war and band together.
How many people are sitting there in a game?
My game is way bigger than, ideally you want 4 to 6. Mine is 11, and then I'm the 12th. I'm running the game, but it's everybody wanted to play. Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine was
kidding me?
he's like, "I got to get in." I'm like, "Great." And then he's like, "Hey, this guy in my kid's carpool wants to play." I go, "Well, who's the guy?" And he said, "Dan. He wrote Game of Thrones." I said, "Yeah, all right, he can play." And then Dan came over. Dave threatened to divorce him as a creative partner if he didn't get Dave into my game. So then Dave joined. The Big Show. The big 7'4", Big Show, Paul White. He loves Dungeons and Dragons when he was a kid. He plays. He would fly in from Florida, charter a jet, and come to the games on Friday. And who
When
else?
you're playing the game, you read these monologues and you
Yeah, I write them, and so it's.
you wear a hat?
You write. I do voices. I do everything that you would expect. I'm the whole world except for them, and then they get to do whatever they want, which is chaotic at times. And
Have you ever
sometimes
thought about
heroic
just
and fun.
recording the live game?
Yeah, we thought about it. I think a lot of us. Well, see, what happened was I ran into Jon Favreau at a Bob Iger party.
Okay.
And Vince and John have been friends forever, and I was like, "John, when are you coming over to play?" And of course, he turned to Sofia and said, "You still have sex with him?" Meaning
Right,
he
you're a nerd.
plays a stupid nerdy game,
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Come on, John." I go, "Come on, come over." And he goes, "No, I'm doing The Mandalorian right now, and The Mandalorian for me is dungeon mastering as a kid. I write the show the way that I did as a dungeon master, so that's the same thing for me." So anyway, the point is, I wound up getting access to those books that I wanted, and I'm working on the pilot.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like a nerdy, funny story, but it's kind of an inspirational story. And
It's
to
not
think
nerdy though. It's kind of like the same thing as all the comic books and superheroes
Yes.
that now turned into huge movies and these
Yeah.
huge franchises.
He's in a lot of them.
Yeah.
Well, and
so-
same thing is, I was a part of 6 of them that all got canceled. But while that was happening, I'm a big researcher as an actor. I just love
Six.
6 films.
What do you mean
6
they got
superhero
canceled?
films that all were canceled.
What do you
after
mean?
Another.
You were in Spider-Man.
Well, I was cast as the main villain in Ben Affleck's Batman. That movie was canceled.
Because
So
because Ben left.
Well, there was a lot of drama going on. Well, there was no prep. They called me. I got the job in July. I went back and forth that summer to London to make the suit. We went to Monaco. We shot my scene that would be at the end of Justice League. I trained qigong. I was studying. I was learning ninjutsu. I was learning katana. I was studying with Navy SEALs. We were out on the range shooting all the rifles that I was going to use.
This
and the
is
handguns.
followed by the comment you made. There was no prep.
Well, I was prepping.
Oh.
And then in January they called me and said he hasn't. There's nothing ready.
Shit.
And so
Is that going to happen?
No, this was 5.5 years ago, and we were supposed to go in May. So I got a call in January that said it's over, and I just kind of laid in bed and stared at the ceiling for 2 weeks.
That's got to be depressing.
It was awful. And,
you were also going to be Superman.
Yeah.
Is that a bad thing? Am I bringing up something?
Yeah, it's kind of awful. Yeah, these are all the kind of like disappointments that you go through in Hollywood.
But
Go ahead. There's 4 more that you haven't brought up yet, Dad.
I won't bring up any more. I don't want to. Am I pissing you off?
No. I mean, it's just I've kind of talked about it a little bit, and
okay.
But I know that there are bloggers out there that are going to hear this, and it's just going to go wild. So it was kind of it was really disappointing in the studio. I talked to the guys at the studio who were they were real fans of mine. And they didn't want me, they didn't want to see it go down that way. And I had been writing and pitching them all this character work that I was doing. I think the character's this. I think he would have gone from Navy SEALs to DevGru to CIA's ground branch. I think he would have been like super black ops, like crazy, a clandestine stuff overseas. Then, this is how I think the katana works in, and this is how I think and they said, this is amazing. Why don't we do this as an origin story for your character, a standalone? Could you write a treatment? I said, yeah, okay. And so I went away.
Did they pay you?
No, I mean, it was a bit like Animal Farm, like, sorry, it went down this way, go build a windmill. So there's a bit of that, but I was like, okay, what else do I have to do? Like, this is the next right thing. I'm going to go do this. So I had all the work anyway. So I turned it into this treatment. I turned it into the studio. They loved it. We started going out to Oscar-nominated writers to see if anybody wanted to partner up with me. I worked on it for 6 months. There's an incredible director named Gareth Evans who did these Indonesian action movies called The Raid and The Raid 2, Raid Redemption. They're incredible. He has a series called Gangs of London. Incredible visionary director. And he was interested in doing it. We had a 2-hour-long Skype call, and he was into it. And Justice League came out, underperformed. Everybody at the studio got fired. And all the people who were championing me were gone. And that was it.
Can I ask you a happy question?
Please ask me that.
I wasn't looking for sad. I feel terrible.
No, but this is the journey. This is being an actor. This is like she was saying. It's like there's hard professions. I want to run away and join the circus.
I want to come watch Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know
how
to
to play. You have to make a character and play. You can't watch.
You have to go.
You got to play.
Dad, you got to go play.
Explain to me what I have to do.
You make a character
based on what? Like what?
Whatever you want to be.
What is it like?
But do you want to be do you want to be Conan? Do you want to be Merlin? Do you want to be Gandalf? Do you want to be a Hobbit?
But that's what I'm saying. Do you have to be something that already exists?
But there's a ton of them. And pretty much if you came up with something out of your head, I could figure it out for you.
The old Jew.
We could do that.
Yeah.
But what does the old Jew do when he's in combat, when he fights?
He complains. He says, where is there a place to eat? He removes
his foreskin and shoots it at people.
Could do that.
No.
We can mold a spell into that. We can work a spell
It's like a...
Well, that's it.
We can make
like a ninja star, but
you have
foreskin.
been circumcised.
Yeah. And you just chop people in half and it comes back on. Yeah.
We could work this out.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
But is everybody? And then do you have to wear a? Do the people that are sitting around this table, are they wearing costumes?
Hell no, man. Come on, we don't do that stuff.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
I mean, people do it, and I don't want to punch down on like Renaissance fairs and things like that.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of something different, Dad. You're thinking
of LARPing, which is out in the backyard in my monk robes swinging a foam sword at somebody.
Do you do that?
No.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is.
No, listen, this is like,
serious.
Well, it's cool. It's fun and it's like addictive and it's
The
a great
fact
time.
that you do it and Vince Vaughn does it, you're making what would be considered, it's like John said to you, you're still having sex with him but overall it's thought to be incredibly nerdy, right?
Well, which is funny because, there was a movement a few years ago where, I guess it was part of the feminist movement saying that there were all these gatekeepers in the 1980s who were keeping women from playing Dungeons and Dragons. And it was like, I would have stuck my arm in the belt sander in wood shop to get a girl to listen to me talk about Dungeons and Dragons for 30 seconds. Like, please, it just wouldn't happen. Girls weren't interested in that time.
Really?
There's tons of girls that play now.
You know what I'd love to do? I'd
not
love to
that.
watch you just describe it to your wife.
Oh yeah, that's
Have you ever got her into a game of it?
Never. I get like 15. She'll go, "Did you win?" And I'll go, like she'll ask somebody, "Did you win?" And they'll go, "Well, we didn't die." And then she'll ask me what happened, and I'll start explaining it, and she'll go, and just shake her head.
Really?
And if I keep talking, she'll go, do you want me to like go upstairs and get my earring tray and start telling you about my earrings for 30 minutes? And I go, all right, fine, forget it.
Really? But do you win? Is there there's no end game? You don't end.
Yo, you can. Yeah, so like the game that I was running pre-pandemic that we ran into the pandemic that we hit time out on, there's this big god at the end that's trying to take over the world. And there's these cults and minions that worship them.
That's happening.
Well, it's kind of topical. Some of it's ripped from the headline. And they're getting closer and closer to this big final encounter against this god where some are going to live, some are going to die. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how the story is going to end. The world could be enslaved, or they could win and be heroes.
Wow, it sounds like CNN. That's what it sounds like to me.
Who's Don Lemon in all of this?
I don't know. It's your game. You're actually really funny. Do you still play sports?
I used to, when I moved to LA, I played pickup basketball on the weekends and lifted weights. And then I was a boxer for a while. I trained as a boxer, and
Did you compete?
My trainer wanted me to start fighting in competitions. And I was like, I might need my face somewhere down the line. And I don't think, and I kind of, I watch Mike Tyson videos all day long.
I was at that fight where he bit off the ear.
Were you?
I was right there. It was the scariest. It was really scary.
Must have been weird.
I don't know. There aren't words to describe how it was, but I was pretty close to the ring, and I saw him bite it, and I saw him spit it onto the mat. And I remember just looking and go, I don't think it's. I saw what it was, but I wasn't registering what it was.
Well, there's like societal unwritten rules, and I would imagine when you see that, it's like everything's out the window. This is chaos.
That's exactly what I
right?
felt. Yes.
I was at a Pacquiao Marquez fight where Pacquiao got hit in the face by Marquez, and like we thought he expired. Like no one cheered because they were scared, and they on the jumbotron was his wife screaming. We thought he was dead the way he hit the ground, and it was interesting because when you're at those fights and somebody really starts putting it on somebody else, the crowd stands up and starts screaming. There's a bloodlust in the air, and the energy rises, and you feel this primal.
Well, I took my daughter here
I've been to one boxing match.
because I thought it was a father-daughter bonding thing. I like boxing.
Yeah.
And you went to one match. How did that turn out for you?
The guy died
He died.
Stop it.
right in front of us.
Right in front.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your luck? I want to go to boxing matches with you.
Really? That's what you got from that?
Well, kind of. That's kind of. I mean, there's
I
a
traumatized.
bit of,
My wife was very upset with me, and you don't take the kids to a death match. You don't.
No.
I think it was me, my sister, and my cousin.
It was girls' night out.
Yeah, he took all the three girls.
I said it should be girls' night. I'm going to take the girls to. I want you to see what mano on mano is, and they saw it was. They were. My sister-in-law got mad at me because your nieces were traumatized.
Yeah.
So I'm not allowed to take the kids out.
Those are the stakes. You realize that one-on-one combat sports, those are the stakes, and it's who wasn't. I don't know if it was Mickey Rourke or somebody who said, I wanted to be a boxer until I got in the ring with somebody who really, really wanted to be a boxer.
Yes.
And you realize the difference that there's some of these guys that just have things inside of them that they're trying to get out, like Tyson.
Oh, Tyson is kind of an interesting character. Yeah, the Paul brothers, Logan and
yes, Jake, yes.
He seems to be doing okay.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's one of those things where like I feel like an old guy, where I'm like, the way it was and the heavyweight division and this and that. And then, now it's just
Well, that was the best at that time. That doesn't
Yeah.
even exist anymore.
no, and that's the thing. I think you as the older I get, the more I start weighing my generation against other people's. I'm like, we had Michael Jordan, we had Mike Tyson, we had Bird and Magic. Like, who you got?
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
that's not music. This is music.
Right, exactly.
that's an old-
We had Michael Jackson. We had Madonna.
Yes.
Yeah,
And so you were also, I told you, I think I talked to you on the phone one day, and you're a Penguins fan too.
yes.
Brian Propp was a big fan of mine.
No kidding.
Do you know who Brian Propp?
Yeah,
I told
well,
you that.
you're from Canada.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
So he would go guffaw every time that when he scored a goal, and that was from my first HBO special.
Putting that together right now. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
so that was from me. It was from an HBO special. He would say guffaw, and he's written to me in a couple of times.
What's
and
guffaw?
nothing? It was just nothing. I just said I can't remember what the context was, but it's from my
It's a
act.
catchphrase. Yeah, like
Yeah, it was guffaw.
what was the catchphrase on like who was what is it, Full House? The little girls, they used to say something.
I don't remember.
Anyway, I don't remember either, but I remember there was one. Or
You
what
remember the
it's your,
Olsen
Right,
twins
it-
catchphrase?
It's your what you talk about, Willis.
right.
Oh, I remember that.
Guffaw. I said you don't have to laugh if everybody would just go guffaw if you enjoyed a joke, and I'd have the whole audience in that HBO special going guffaw. And that year, the Penguins were going for the Stanley Cup, and every time he scored a goal, he would go guffaw, and it was like an homage to me.
That's cool.
I know, I'm a cool guy.
Is that a Bob's Big Boy behind you? What is it?
That's Bobby's
Bobby's
World.
World.
Oh, I can see.
I did a cartoon in the '90s. You're too young.
Oh
to
yeah.
remember.
Well, the '90s were that was my coming of age. Those
Sure,
were-
I talk like that.
all right. Once again, I'm putting it all together.
That's a Saturday morning. It was the same voice I did. I did the movie
I
Gremlins.
remember Bobby's World.
Remember Gremlins?
Sure.
I'm Gizmo.
Talk McGuire.
How did I not know this?
I'm trying to tell you.
She's Gizmo. I call her Mugwai.
Do you really?
The dog. Yeah.
Talk McGuire.
Mugwai.
Yeah. So that's me. Don't feed her after midnight.
not get the Mugwai with.
Oh wow, that's pretty good.
not to feed the Mugwai after midnight.
That's perfect. Do you do impressions?
A lot, yeah.
do a
I was
lot?
in high school. My friends would make me do impersonations, and I would do like kind of like stand up for my friends at parties in high school on Friday.
What voices do you do?
Oh boy, Arnold, Pee Wee,
Let's hear it.
Rodney. Who do you want?
Rodney.
Okay. I'll say. Hey, one time I took my wife to a dog show. She won. I get no respect.
That's good. Pee Wee.
So funny, I forgot to laugh. Chocolatey.
I can't do his voice, but I can go to a public movie and jerk off.
I mean, you are like on a roll with all of my friends. These are
Yeah,
my friends. I was
everyone-
Pee Wee's best friend in a
Oh.
Pee Wee Herman movie.
Oh, you were in the movie.
Yeah, he was in the
He
movie.
was a friend. Yes.
I love Paul Rubens. Am I saying it bad? Am I
I
saying bad
love
things?
Paul Rubens. Paul is
I
a
love
wonderful
him,
guy. I
but
mean,
he did,
yeah.
and I don't know that he should have been arrested.
I
for
don't
that.
think so either. No,
No.
and that officer, he was like, please don't do this to me. I'll do children's shows in Florida. Like I'll do all this charity work, like whatever you need. And the guy just, you know what I mean? He wanted to take him down.
Yeah. Am I being? I hope I'm not being disrespectful to Paul. And I love Arnold. Arnold was my favorite governor.
I get it. No, I get it. It's fine. I mean, listen. I mean, if that happens, then
It does.
You're,
Sometimes
you're in
it's
the
late
court
at
of
night.
public opinion, and
Yeah.
this is what happens.
And sometimes it's late at night, and you go downstairs
He
and you
shouldn't have
slip.
been
And
arrested. Wasn't it a normal movie?
Fantastic, and this is crazy. And look at me, I'm the governor of California, and here we are. I'm talking to Howie Mandel on this show. And
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That is great.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time with Arnold.
You still?
I haven't seen him in a while because of COVID, but before that, we were best friends. We'd fly around on his, fly around the country and go to do things. And he'd call me and say, Joe Weider died, and his memorial is this Saturday, and you're going to give a speech on behalf of your own generation of bodybuilding. It's going to be fantastic, and I'll see you on Saturday.
I love that.
Yeah, he was the best.
Are you doing the next Magic Mike movie?
No, I told him, I wanted to retire. It was like, I thought two of them was good. And, cause for me, I think it was like, I come from classical theater, I played.
That's not classical theater.
So I just think that there's a bit of like, no matter how good work you do, you're going to get marginalized in a large way, and people aren't going to see the work. They're going to they're going to talk about all that other flashy stuff that's going on screen. They're going to talk about.
Well,
your
you have
physique,
the standout scene of that. I think that whole series, the 7-Eleven.
Thanks.
The 7-Eleven.
No, I'm like super proud. I love that scene, and but it just seemed like, people were using that, like, for example, so, like that show, the Lakers show.
Right.
Right. So some of the guys who wrote that, they were interested in me playing Coach Pat Riley.
Right.
I'm Pat's height, we had, kind of similar backgrounds, and through getting to know me, they were like, we think you've got,
What it takes.
the inner life, we think you get it. And I said, I agree. And I guess they ran it by, the executive producer who had all the power, and he said,
Well, don't tell me you lost that part.
He said, what, the guy with the fucking abs? And that was it. Like, what does it have to do with playing Pat Riley at all? Even this movie I did in New Jersey, it was real difficult to get me that part because, there was someone who had never seen my work, who was involved, who had a big voice in the process, who just was hell-bent against me.
Because of that?
Being in this serious drama. Even though I played Richard III, I played Stanley Kowalski 3 times. It doesn't matter to them. They have an image. Like I said, this is like a really reputable people who just wouldn't even watch my work, didn't even care.
But True Blood and
yeah, they don't see it that way. They're just like, oh, the naked
what-
guy on True Blood. It's like, no, that's an HBO series with a bunch of Oscar winners and Emmy winners.
right.
And
So,
West
but
End
I'm saying
London
you have a
theater
lot
people,
of.
but
You're
they don't
more than
care.
that scene.
I know, but they see the tabloids or whatever it is, and for whatever reason, it was like, I just kind of had to get off the train and say, listen, I need to dig myself out of this hole, and which was achievable. You know what I mean? Like, I was getting all those jobs that would make people forget all about that. They just kept getting canceled.
I'm
So
sorry, I'm
I
breaking
never
that up.
fully. I know, now we're going back to
feel terrible.
sadness. But so it's been, it's a fight. It is a fight. This business is a fight. They want to
And
put
it's
you
a
in a
constant
box.
fight. Listen, I didn't start. I did comedy, but then I was on a drama for years, and I couldn't get on another drama because of my comedic persona.
Right. You're the funny guy.
Right.
Yeah.
But I was on St. Elsewhere. I just came up with Denzel.
Yeah.
But I couldn't. Nobody. But I get it. I get it. That sometimes when people are watching it, and you want the audience to lose themselves in it, you don't want to say that's the guy that puts the glove on his head.
No, and I think what the problem is, what they don't realize is, like, I remember being on True Blood, and like Anna Paquin turned to me in the makeup trailer and was like, "Did you grow up on a farm?" I was like, "No."
Why?
But she thought because
that
I was
character?
this big corn-fed werewolf from Jackson, Mississippi. She
From
thought,
True Blood?
Yeah. She thought that's who I was. And then during Magic Mike, I would do press, and people would say things like, did you ever like jump out of a cake in college, like to pay the bills? And I'm like, no, I went to like an Ivy League school. Like I'm not a male, I'm a classically trained.
But Channing is, right?
Channing was, yeah. I mean, in no disrespect, I'm just saying that for me, it's kind of like, I guess I'm doing such a good job that they're believing that that's who I am.
Right.
And that's all that I am.
Right.
But they're not open to, thank God I have a great agent over at ICM, Carter Cohn, who like has scenes, and he will go to people's hotel rooms or their houses, and he will sit down and watch the scene. Tell me he can't do it. And then they'll hire me. So like, I got to give it up for that guy.
But you're always working.
I have a good agent. Well, I have a good agent, and I'm a hustler. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I've done over the past few years, I've self-generated or produced with my brother, or hunted down the financing for to show people,
or worked for
what
it. I mean,
can
the
do.
fact that they know, even if they got canceled, even if the prospect got canceled.
In an alternate universe, all those movies are happening.
No, but what I'm saying is that they don't usually sit down with an actor and go, okay, this is canceled, but I love what you're doing. Let's make an origin story. Go ahead and write something. Like, even to have that opportunity, I feel like it's like this business is like gambling, and they're letting you come to the table over and over and over again. And you're only going to keep getting better and better and more opportunities. I just think the longer you do it, the better we get, right?
Yeah, I think so. But I also think, and I think that especially like, as a guy, I think that the more years, the more dirt you get on you, the more you got inside you. I always looked up to those guys. Like, you remember like the old Western saloon where like somebody's cheating at poker, and the hand comes back on the gun, and the other guy puts his hand on the gun, and they look at each other, and there's these extreme close-ups into their eyes.
Right.
and the one guy takes his hand off his gun because he knows the other guy's going to kill him. You can see it in his eyes. It's like those were the guys I looked up to. So the older I get, the more stuff I go through. Like I want that look in my eyes, you know. Like and so
you are a great
there's
actor.
a silver lining. Well, thanks.
And you've had, even though you feel like, well, I don't know that you feel this way, but you've told us stories where you're concerned about being pigeonholed. I think you aren't.
No, I don't think
You know,
so
and
either.
you're very well. You said that.
But I said
Magic
no,
Mike.
for example, after Magic Mike, I said no to everything for a year and a half. And Paul Rubens called me and said, I have this script that I wrote for you. It's Pee-wee's comeback movie, and I want you to play his best friend. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I go, yeah, I'm in. He goes, no, I want you to read the script. I go, okay. So I read the script and was like screaming my head off laughing, you know, and I told Paul, like, I'm in. Later that week, I'm talking to my agents, and they kind of, you know, we're having a phone conference talking about stuff that's in town and what to send me out for. And they're like, oh, and there's this Pee Wee Herman script, and we're just going to say no to it and pass on. I go, no. That's what I'm doing. And they're like, you've passed on everything for the past year and a half. You're going to say yes to the Pee Wee movie? I go, exactly. I go, that's my crybaby. You know, Johnny Depp got off of 21 Jump Street, did the John Waters movie. And I told Paul that. I said, this is my crybaby. I'm going to go do the Paul, you know, because like I said before, it's like, it's never been about money. It's never been about that kind of stuff. It's been about how to tell a great story, great cause, like Pee Wee Herman's comeback movie. Psh, I'm in. Like, are you kidding
He's
me?
brilliant. He's actually brilliant.
He's one
a
of the
genius.
comic geniuses of all time.
He's a genius.
Yeah.
Not only comedy. He's a really smart man.
Yeah.
He is. Have you ever considered, or maybe you have, and I'm not aware of, have you worked with your wife?
Yeah, okay. So in addition to like, we do like kind of series of commercials sometimes. People will approach us and we'll do commercials together and we'll kind of play us, like the sitcom version of us. And the other thing is that, so I produced a movie. It was like years trying to find the financing for this movie. It was about a guy who went to prison when he was a kid. He got drafted by the Yankees, but never got to play. He wound up hitting a kid in a fight, and the kid fell back, smacked his head, died, and the kid went to prison.
That's a true story.
No, it feels like it is, but and then when I read the script, it kind of felt like it did. And so he winds up like, you know, having to protect himself in prison, and he gets added time and doesn't wind up getting out until his late 30s. So he returns to his old neighborhood in the Bronx in his late 30s, and he missed it all. He missed his life. Goes to a grocery store, winds up seeing the girl whose heart he broke when they were 19 years old, and it's Sofia. So she and I play grown-up kids who were in love, like kind of meeting each other again after
Is
life.
it shot?
Yeah. It's called Bottom of the Ninth.
And when is that coming out?
It's out. Came out a few years ago.
I got to watch
You
it.
should check it out.
I'm going to definitely.
There's
Bottom of the
there's
Ninth.
some beautiful, like, I'm so proud of the stuff we did together. I think it's so beautiful.
Bottom of the Ninth.
Bottom of the Ninth.
Would it be on Netflix now or?
It was
Amazon?
on, geez, when it came out, it was, I think it was on Amazon. So
I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Yeah.
It's
It's a really nice
I know that you have to run.
Are
They're
there people
telling me.
yelling and waving over there?
There are people yelling and waving. I would love you to stay, but I know you're going to Jimmy Kimmel, right?
Yeah, I'm doing Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, that's great.
Is this my publicist websites? All right. So
You're doing.
well, I mean, I got a couple minutes. I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, do I have to go?
All
Do I
right.
have to leave?
Well, they're just. I just don't want to hold
We were told
you.
that you do.
We were told.
My driver is super fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could tell you were here a half hour late.
Well,
Maybe that's his MO.
that was because the dog was sick and I was an hour and a half late getting out of the hospital with the dog.
That dog?
What's wrong with the?
What's wrong with your
She
dog?
got sick yesterday.
With
and,
what? What's wrong?
She, sometimes these dogs, they just, get an upset stomach or get something in their intestine. And so she was in a bad place yesterday. So I took her in this morning with ample time. And unfortunately, I'm here.
And you showed up even from the hospital. You came here.
Yeah. And we made great time. Like we made it here. Like we flew. So, I mean, that's.
Is she going to be okay?
Yeah,
Is she
she's
pulling through?
She's okay.
She's not. She looks like tired. Is she tired?
She's pretty chill.
Is she old?
I bring her to set.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And they let you take that to Europe?
Take that.
Well-
You can tell he's not a dog person.
No, I'm not.
They let
I love-
you take that
I
thing
love
to
it.
Europe.
I wasn't either until I got this.
Really?
I never had a pet, and I wasn't interested.
Did you buy that or did Sophia buy it?
Sophia wanted. Sophia had the shelter bring her over, but these dogs, they're notorious for picking one person, and so she picked me. And she needed 2 surgeries, and nobody was going to pay for it, so they were going to put her down. I mean, there was no question. And so I just took her, and the next day I took her to the hospital and was like, get rid of everything. I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait for a biopsy. I don't want to wait for this to clear up. Just fix it now. And
So she's empty inside?
and so she has some stuff, they had to, there was like a cyst that was cancer. So I just said, I cut it all out. She had what turned out to be 11 bladder stones. It was making her pee blood. It was so horrible to watch. And now she's okay. She's all right. She's fine. She'll be fine.
She went to the hospital today.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so she's
I
like,
don't know.
So she's a rescue.
she's a rescue, yeah. So I recommend it. I mean, if you're going to get a dog, get a rescue. And the dogs know that you rescued them. So,
How do you know that dog knows?
She knows. Like, she knows.
Look at her.
She
Look at
knows.
her. That's her person.
Yeah, I'm the dada.
No, I know. I've never seen I follow you on Instagram,
Yeah.
and I've never seen a picture without no matter where it is.
Well,
And no, but you're carrying it, and
yeah,
I've
I
never
just take
seen.
her everywhere. She likes to go with me. I'll just take her everywhere. She's fine. She's like less than 5
So we
pounds.
have dogs. I have dogs. My wife has dogs.
I have dogs.
And you have dogs. But my wife was the chosen one with the dog, and the dog, also a Chihuahua, hated me.
Right, that happens.
Yeah, so hated
Yeah,
me.
I know.
And would bite me, and I'm not allowed in the same room as the dog's okay when my wife's not around.
Yeah.
But then if my wife walks in the room, then I get attacked.
Yeah, I had ex-girlfriends that had dogs like that. So when Sofia brought it up, I was like, I really don't want a dog. But come to find out, the dog just loved me, and that's it. So we're just like a package deal now.
So on Jimmy Kimmel, what are you promoting?
I'm promoting Moonhaven, which is my AMC show that comes out in July, which is what I shot in Ireland
Okay.
for 4 months last year. And it's
Sophia was very sad
that I was gone.
that you were gone.
I know.
That was right when we were working, and that's a long time.
It
Do you-
was.
So like for marriage,
Yeah.
I don't think I've been away from my wife for 4 months.
I was going to ask, do you plan on stopping at all anytime soon and like just staying home with the family?
I would never plan on doing that. I'm a worker. I have to work. I think like kind of my whole being is surrounded by work. If I could find something to do, work at home that was fulfilling, where I could, whatever, pay my bills and be happy, I would absolutely look into that. But
Is that tough though? You
it's
both
hard.
you're both
It's
very
really hard.
busy.
That's
people.
the hardest part. It's the hardest part is, because the girlfriends I have for her, they didn't have the inner security, I think, to deal with what was happening to me as my career kept growing.
Right.
There was just a
You don't still have
there
those
was
girlfriends, do you? I just
Well played. No, so it was one of those things where, I didn't want to date somebody in the industry. I really wanted somebody out. I thought that was what I wanted, or somebody who was going to be complementary to my lifestyle. We were going to travel, have kids, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like that whole thing, and be a family unit that would move around. But I just couldn't find somebody who really understood that side of me or supported that side of me. And until I met Sofia, and we just had so much fun. We laughed our asses off. We would just laugh so hard all the time, and she got it. And but I did know that the difficulty would come when I had to travel.
So
Well,
does it make it easier though, because you're both in the same career, so you understand that the other person, what they have to do?
It does, but that doesn't take away the fact that you're gone.
For 4 months.
And you start turning back into a single person to a certain degree. I mean, not single like dating wise, but I mean like you start getting back into your old habits. You're just kind of like this guy who lives with this dog in this apartment in Ireland, and now she's coming to visit. And things, coffee cups are in the wrong place. You know what I mean? Like you have to remember how to be in a relationship again. you know?
right.
So
but you guys were separated for a long time, and she was miserable because of it.
Well,
she was.
I mean, I'm sad to hear that, but also happy to hear that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I would love a chance to work with you one day. You're a
love that.
really good actor. You're a funny
Thanks.
guy. You
Thanks,
have
Howie.
a full range.
The first step is you go play Dungeons and Dragons.
I'd like to
Dad.
watch it at least.
You can't watch. You have
Okay,
to play.
I'll be the old Jew. Yeah, but I don't know how to how do you what am I striving for? What am I trying? Like I
Well,
get
here's
poker.
the thing. If
I'm
you're,
winning.
what I'm getting from you is that there's kind of a religious aspect or some sort of like theological, like you have this power coming from, well, you're a Jew. You
Yeah.
believe in some higher power, whatever that is.
Okay.
Okay. So we could come up with that. Now you derive your power from that. So then
that would be my agent.
your lot in life is to make that thing proud or carry out whatever that thing inspires you to do. Now we're creating a character. Now we're creating storylines. And as you do that, you wind up finding your place within this group. Now you all have a common goal. Now you all are moving together towards the end game.
I still don't understand. I'm sure there's a lot
It's
of people that are
acting.
watching.
It's just acting.
Just 5,
It's
10
acting and rolling
guys
dice.
sitting around a table going, and I'm going, I'm the Jew. Let's move together toward the power. Are you eating those chips? Do you serve chips?
Yeah, I get a food truck usually in the driveway.
A food truck.
Yeah, man.
What do you serve for Dungeons and Dragons groups?
We get a big food truck. I'll get whatever the hot food truck is. We get like sushi rolls, or we'll get like like what's the big God, what is it, it's like the pinup burgers. I forget what it's called. I'd have to go.
You guys
look.
know what he's talking about? The pinup burgers?
Anyway, I think they look like my
Betty's
they look like my
Burgers, yeah?
publicist is screaming at them.
Okay, they got to go. You got to go. You got to go.
But it was yeah. I wish we could talk more, man.
We
I
will.
really,
Let's.
Yeah.
You know what? I've told Sophia a couple times, when you guys aren't busy, I would love to go out to dinner with you and
I would
your
love
wife,
that. You
and me and my wife.
you mentioned that to me when I came over to set. Yeah,
Yes.
I'd love that.
I'd love that.
Yeah.
I've called her a couple times and then I didn't follow through.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, because she said, okay. I said, you want to go to dinner?
You can call
and Joe?
me. You can call me. I'll make
Give me
sure
your
she
number
calls you
before I
back.
leave.
Yeah.
Anyway, have a great shot on Jimmy.
Thank you.
And everybody watch your shows, read your books. Is your book still out?
My book, Evolution,
It's still out. Read the books. Whatever Joe is in,
Thanks.
do it. And good luck to the dog. I hope the dog feels better.
Yeah, she'll be okay. You'll be okay, right?
Oh.
He's okay.
All right. Let's take a picture together.
Yeah.
Okay.